Hey guys, Eric Waller here, Regular Joe CEO. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is one of our first shows, actually, so we're filming this tonight in our secret lair in Keller, Texas. And one of the challenges we've had is we kind of really got stuck trying to figure out what topics we would use for the show. And so, just to remind you, the show is created to help the aspiring entrepreneur, the aspiring leader, people in leadership positions who need help, people with specific challenges, people with, maybe their leadership role is in volunteer capacity, a parental capacity, whatever the capacity. It's not just about work, but, that's kind of my experience. So, again, I've done, well over $1.5 billion worth of deals. And so I'm here to talk about my experience. So tonight we're kind of reaching into the well, trying to figure out a topic. And I was thinking about tonight's...
How about we go to Facebook and check out our first poll?
Well, how about we go to Facebook and check out our first poll? That's a good example. So, just as a reminder, viewer, we put a poll last week, or let me find. It was Monday. So today's Friday when we're recording this. So we put it up Monday night, and the first poll we had was, what's stopping you from delegating more? It only let me use 2 choices to build the poll. I don't know why. I thought you could use more choices. But so I chose fear that they'll screw it up, or you're too busy to stop and do it. So why don't people delegate? Is it because you're scared to screw it up, or you're too busy to do it? And that looks like roughly 60 votes so far. And 40 said fear they'll screw it up. So that's 60%. 60% says fear they'll screw it up. The other one says they're too busy to do it. So let's talk about delegation first. I kind of chose this topic because delegation is a pretty common, difficult thing for leaders. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO like myself, if you're on a board of managers, or if you're a supervisor. It's really difficult to delegate, because when you delegate, you are kind of putting your future in the hands of others. And so a lot of people, especially new leaders, are very nervous about that, because because of their own performance and their ability to deliver things is kind of why they've been promoted in the first place, right? Maybe they're a member of a great team, but something about them is why they got promoted. So they don't want to screw that up. And so other people just have, just general trouble letting go of things, right? We all know that, and you probably recognize that a little bit of that in yourself, but we know the extremes that exist too. So the best thing I'll say about delegation is, just because you delegate the responsibility of something to someone doesn't mean you delegate the accountability for the results, number one. So yeah, you're worried they'll screw it up, but you are accountable. So that natural reaction is right. You can't delegate your accountability. You can delegate the responsibility. The second thing I'll say about delegation is, one way to overcome the fear of delegating is to set regular check-in periods. So oftentimes people view delegation as saying, I'm going to give you this task or this target of deliverables, or this thing I need done by Wednesday, whatever you want to call it, and that you're just supposed to get out of their way and leave them alone. And that's what most people would prefer. And quite frankly, you guys are new in leadership, understand that people say, you told me to do this, now you're telling me how to do it. That's not what I'm telling you to tell them. But I am saying it's okay to go to someone and say, I need you to get this done by Friday, or by next Friday. And so it's let's say you got 2 weeks to get this done. But what I need you to do is check in with me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until then for 5 minutes in the morning. Or 9 a.m., I need you to just talk to me for about 10 minutes. Or I'd like just a daily email about your progress, And the reason you do that is so you make sure the project's getting done. You don't get surprises. You don't want to set check-in periods or targets that make the task even more difficult for the person that's doing it, but at the same time, it's not a reasonable expectation to just hand off a task or a deliverable, and then you're just supposed to just look the other way and hope it gets done. So the message there is to hand it off, but set regular check-in periods, and what the duration of the check-in is going to be about, what the media of the check-in is going to be about. It's going to be a face-to-face. It's going to be a phone call. It's going to be an email. It's going to be, you're going to write on my whiteboard or whatever, and then, make sure that happens, because if you delegate something and you say, I need you to check in with me on Monday morning at 9 o'clock for 10 minutes, and, bring me up to speed. And Monday morning at 9:15 comes and they're not there. And you go by and you say, hey, look, what's going on? They say, yeah, you've got a problem and you got to address it right then real quick. So that's kind of the art of delegating, is make sure that happens. The second thing, which probably, I guess 60%, so about 40% got was, I don't have time to stop and do it. And that is a really complicated one, okay? Because that's probably the most true. Your fear isn't really the company's problem. By the way, let me back up that. Fear that someone will screw it up and you not delegating, that's not the company's problem. That's your personal problem. The company's paying you to do something. They expect you to delegate, and they want you to be a more successful leader or even individual performer. So anything you're personally bringing into that's an emotional problem or a coping skill problem or an insecurity problem that's getting in your way of delegating is really something you need to address. For the most part, that's just my thought process. And you'll find that talking to me will always center on the solution that you need to provide. It's what you need to change, what you need to do to get better. So that's one. But when it comes to being too busy to do it, that's most commonly true. And one of the main reasons to do this is because you're caught in what's called what my friend Nelson Repenning at MIT calls the capability trap. Other people I've heard call similar models the firefighter's dilemma. And what the firefighter's dilemma is the easiest one for me to explain. I'll start there first, but it says, I'm always putting out fires at work, therefore I don't have time to train and develop people. And because I don't train and develop people, I'm always putting out fires at work. Or I'm always putting out fires at work because I don't build systems and processes or procedures or expectations or best practices or standard operating procedures, whatever, that stop problems. And because I don't build those SOPs, best practices, procedures, work designs, then I have no time. That's true. But you're the only one that can fix that. The capability trap is very similar because I don't build the capability in my organization. I'm always dealing with these consequences as a result of that, and they're taking all my time. And because it's taking all the organization's time to fix the problems as a result of not having capability in the organization, I don't have time to build capability in the organization. And let me tell you what the truth here is. It's up to you to fix it, and it's going to take a lot of work. And so you have to be aware of it. You have to realize that it's not chaos in the organization, that the random number generator you built at work is of your own design. It's because you've decided not to develop people. And you say, hey, Eric, hold on a minute. Yeah, Eric, that's easy to say as a CEO, but you don't understand what it's like being a line manager who doesn't have the ability to set a lot of things, and my manager tells me this, the manager tells me that, and so you get to run your own company, Eric, but I just run a department, and so I say hogwash, and that's probably the nicest word I can use to say that, because your manager wants you to do well. You're 99% of the time, your manager wants you to be successful. Your manager certainly wants you to get work done, okay? So it doesn't mean that you always have to do the development the way you want. You may have the idea to say, I need $8,000 a month to train, or I need $4,000 a year to send people to seminars, and your manager would say no, but it doesn't mean you can't go out and develop your people by printing off a topic or talking about it in a safety meeting or a quick 5-minute morning meeting. That doesn't mean you can't, when you have 30 minutes, get up off of your desk and walk around and talk to people and give them coaching and make sure they're doing okay. So there's lots of ways to develop a team that aren't with big training budgets, and there's lots of ways to develop a team without your boss's buy-in or your organization's resources. This is just a commitment that leaders make when they lead teams. And if you're going to take on the task of leadership, you have to make that commitment to provide, build capacity in the organization. And most often that's through hiring people that are capable, training people so they're more capable, and quite frankly, firing people that are incapable and unwilling. Because then you make room for the people that are capable and willing. So that's kind of the delegation stuff I want to talk about. There are other reasons people don't delegate. There's about 6 or 7 ways. I'm not that up to speed on all of them, but I'll make sure and I kind of study up on a couple more. But the fear I won't get it right and I'm too busy and I don't have time are probably the number 1 and 2. One thing I'll talk about, maybe a third one, is this is not textbook management stuff. This is kind of stuff I made up, but it's just procrastination by perfectionism. So because I can't do it perfectly, I can't let somebody else have it. Or maybe you don't delegate because Let's give an example. Let's say that I do a job and I just do that job perfectly every time. And this job that I do perfectly is how, I got promoted to do these perfect jobs, and they want me to do 5 perfect jobs a week, and I can do 5 perfect jobs a week. But then they come to me and say I need 7 or 8 jobs a week, and I can't do 7 or 8. So if I delegate to someone who maybe they do 90%, a good job, a good quality job, but it's not the best job in the world. Well, maybe 90% is good enough to get the numbers you want. Maybe 90% is good enough to stop and help develop and coach and train and build some quality and some skill and experience in the person you're handing off to. So that's kind of another one, is just, not wanting to hand it off because it's not perfect. And you just, quite frankly, got to get over that. All right. And if you recognize any of these things I'm talking about, and if they kind of resonate with you a little bit, it's probably because you got them. You may be thinking somebody else has them, but it's probably because you got them. So these are type of skills that can play whether you're at any station in your career. And so I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about these topics of delegation. I'd really love to hear specific challenges you have, and I also love to hear success stories about that. Follow us on regularjoe_CEO at Twitter. We've got 5 or 10 followers, so we need you to show up there. I don't feel very popular on Twitter, so I could use your tweets and retweets and replies I mentioned. Also, our YouTube channel, Regular Joe CEO, our Instagram, Regular Joe CEO, and our Facebook, obviously our main site right now, Regular Joe CEO. And we hope to see you soon. So thanks.